Hi guys, welcome back to the Daily Reddit podcast channel. Today, our story will be about a cheating husband who abandoned his pregnant wife. So assuming you like this video and subscribe to the channel, let's get into the video now.
I hope you like the video so far. Make sure to check my #1 secret for healthy weight loss by clicking the link in the description.
My husband, 28M, cheated on and abandoned me pregnant, 37F, and is trying to make me feel guilty for not facilitating video calls with our daughter, 9 months F. From Oak Inflation 7810. I found out my husband had been cheating on me last Valentine's Day when I was 6 months pregnant. He's in the Navy and was in training in Florida. I flew out to spend the week with him and he was acting weird. I asked to see his phone, and he tried to tell me it wasn't healthy and that his therapist told him that we shouldn't do that. Well, I've never done that to him, but he had admitted to doing it to me and then tried to accuse me of cheating, even though he found absolutely no evidence that I ever cheated. He brought up an old text thread he saw from a guy that I'd met in a bar while out with GFs about 1 week after we made our relationship official. But we still weren't engaged or married. I was confused because I had no memory of this and had to dig back in my texts to find what he was talking about. The text exchange was over and done in 1 day. And we never talked again. The content of the exchange consisted of talking about a podcast, and then I mentioned what an amazing boyfriend I had and was thankful not to be having the same problems as my friends. I never cheated on him or even came close. Anyway, fast forward a few months and here we are in the Airbnb, and I'm asking for the phone. I tell him that he looked at mine behind my back, plus GPS tracking me without my knowledge for months before I found out. I don't care what the therapist says, I deserve to know the truth. He hands me the phone and then tries to yank it back before I see anything. I take off and lock myself in the bathroom. I start seeing Insta messages, Snapchat messages to other women. He's trying to get in the bathroom the whole time. I'm not that strong and can't continue holding him back. So I put the phone in my pants and open the door. I tell him I don't have the phone, and he can look for it in the bathroom. While he's looking, I take off running in the middle of the night in a neighborhood I don't know, 6 months pregnant and devastated. He was DMing over 20 different women, telling them how beautiful they were. I found saved snaps where he exchanged addresses with some girl, as well as sending her a video of himself masturbating. And a bunch of other pics of him shirtless. Post yoga bod for you, etc. Text attached. There was a thread with another girl on Snap of them taking photos together at a bar, with a bunch of heart emojis over the pic. They weren't kissing or anything. And I didn't see sexual stuff or addresses exchanged here. But it still made me question if this was just another chick he was hooking up with, while I was pregnant and alone, trying to prepare for our daughter across the country. He drove back to his barracks to remotely wipe his phone while I was still finding more evidence of his infidelity. Obviously, I was devastated and upset. But he'd been pulling away for a while before this happened. So I'd had my suspicions up to that point, and I had already really been struggling emotionally dealing with that. Not to mention, I already have a PTSD diagnosis from long-term abuse, which I'm not getting into the details of. But as soon as we got married, he told me I had to give him details about the abuse I went through because I was his wife now. I joked that if that was the case, then we could get a divorce. Over some months, he wouldn't let this go and would interrogate me about details until he was screaming, and I was crying. At this point I was already in my 2nd trimester with my daughter and I caved and gave him some details, hoping that would be the end of it. It was not. If any of you are familiar with PTSD, forcing someone to disclose details against their will can set your recovery back a ton. So I started having nightmares again, migraines, intense anxiety, etc. One got so bad that I had to go to the ER. Because I was throwing up and urinating on myself from the pain of the migraine. I don't have any family nearby or parents really, source of me PTSD. So I called the next person who I felt safe with to take me to the ER, and that happened to be my ex of 4 years. Husband knows about this friendship and was uncomfortable with it at first. But seemed to get over it when I explained that our relationship was basically sexless. And we parted amicably because I wanted kids, and he'd had 3 already with tubes tied. He and his family kind of adopted me because of the situation with my family.
And if you want to receive a free sketch of your soulmate, click the link in the description now.
Plus, I help him raise 2 teenagers, his oldest was in college out of state by this point. Fast forward again, my daughter is 9 months old in a couple of days. Our final divorce hearing is this Friday. He lost legal custody in the last hearing, he didn't show up but his lawyer did, and he got a liberal step-up plan for visitation. He's now stationed in CT, and I'm in CA. So it's going to be tough to exercise visitation. I went through periods of intense anger towards him, and I told him he couldn't see his daughter without a court order. Although I took that back and invited him to visit for her first Christmas. So he hasn't been back to see her since she was born. I should also mention that he told me the Navy was requiring a paternity test for our daughter since we weren't going to be together anymore. He told me this less than 48 hours after I gave birth. I went into an emotional tailspin after he told me that. The nurses almost wanted to keep me in postpartum recovery for an extra day. I sent an angry email regarding the matter to his chief and told husband to stay away from us until he got his paternity results. He kept messaging and telling me that he was in CA to visit her. He had taken paternity leave to visit her, and he was 99.9% sure she was his. But he just wanted to be sure. I started feeling guilty because I know without a doubt that he's her father. So I let him visit. Things were going well until my daughter was 11 days old, and he decided to go out partying with his friends in town because they wanted to celebrate him becoming a father. I wouldn't have known about it. But I tried to call, text him to say goodnight to baby, since he was staying at a friend's and not with us at night. And he took about 3 hours to respond. I was upset. I had already felt abandoned, not just me but also our daughter, and he had the audacity to go out partying to celebrate becoming a father when he wasn't even going to be there to help us. Anyway, I gave him a little hell for it, and he came back to visit a couple of days later. Before he came, I told him no more showering at my place or taking care of personal hygiene. He was doing this before. If he's coming over, he's there to help and spend time with baby and that's it. Well, he was giving me attitude and complaining when he came over. So I asked him why he thought everything would be honky-dory after what he put me through. The lies, the cheating, the verbal, emotional abuse. He got defensive and started telling me my family told him I'd be an unfit mother. He kept repeating it when he saw how upset it made me, with my daughter still on my chest from breastfeeding. I had a pelvic problem during the latter half of my pregnancy and was still having difficulty walking or getting up from a seated or laying position. My helplessness infuriated me even more. I told him to get out of my house. So after having to repeat several times and raise my voice he left, but also forgot his wallet, which I didn't realize at the time. I blocked him on my phone immediately after he left, so he had his friends call and text me about it. Which also upset me further. I told them to back off and if he came back to the house I'd be calling the police on him. I didn't need the man that abandoned and cheated on me pregnant, causing me further stress with my newborn. I needed tranquility and peace. I figured I'd go drop his wallet off at the base later. He didn't need or deserve an explanation from me. So I went to my apartment that day, which he knew about, and drove to drop it off at the base after.
Please click the link in the description now to activate your internal wealth DNA.
I get home and my roommate informs me that husband sent police to my house to pick up the wallet. And claimed that I pretended to not be home. Later on that day, I get a call from CPS claiming general neglect of my newborn infant. Less than 2 weeks old. CPS opens a case on me. I was again devastated. Nothing ended up happening, and a lawyer advised me not to allow them access to my home without a court order. But it was awful just to have to talk to them about this and to be accused of neglecting my baby that I dedicated every waking, and barely sleeping, moment to. Needless to say, I haven't been thrilled about the prospect of co-parenting with this guy. But he's guilt-tripping me for not doing video calls, sending photos etc. And telling him he couldn't visit for Thanksgiving. Even though I told him he could visit her for her first Christmas, and I offered to help him finance the trip. He decided to take his limited resources and leave days to vacation with his friends and family for 2 weeks in Florida. And blamed me for not wanting to come until he gets a court order. He had previously stated he couldn't come because of money, place to stay etc. I don't know what to do. I don't trust him alone with the baby. Doing calls and sending pics feels so forced and is bad for me emotionally. I've tried it. I want to stop being snarky with him, but I'm still so mad, and the fact that he hasn't really apologized for everything he put me through has me on edge. There's so much more to the story, but I think this post has gone on long enough for now. Edit. Court was today for the paternity hearing. He tried to paint me as a complete bad woman, which is fine. The judge let the visitation orders stand as they are, even though apparently paternity has not been established in the court's mind. The reasoning was that we never lived together. You guys, I can't even begin to describe how horrible this man has been to me. The stuff he said in court was beyond all comprehension. I chose not to waste the court's time with a lengthy rebuttal of all the lies and half-truths he presented. We should have paternity results in a month. I guess I'm just kind of shocked how long the judge let him bloviate with utter nonsense that didn't even have anything to do with paternity. He said that his family was also waiting for paternity results. Weird. He's been giving all these guilt trips about his family not being able to see her, yet they have my contact information. This is the very first time I've heard anything about his family also questioning paternity. His mom and sisters were at my baby shower, which took place after I found out about his cheating. Jesus, I'm upset right now. If there was ever a person with two faces, this guy would be the poster child. I've responded to almost everyone's comments, questions, giving more backstory and reasoning for my stance. I really appreciate you guys taking the time to read all this and offer thoughtful responses, advice.
And now, before going any further with the video, make sure to click the link in the description to discover the key to winning a man's love, attention, and total devotion for life.
Farboot5639 commented. Sadly, many of his actions leading up to your discovery are common red flags. One that always stands out is them accusing us of cheating, despite no evidence or prior history. Sounds like he made your life a little messy there for a bit. But as someone who is in your shoes now also, I wish you luck. Mo Music Man commented. What does his commanding officer think of his infidelity? It is one of those things for which he can be court-martialed. Buddy8665 commented. Careful with that. Op may feel good about it, but if his career ends up getting ended, it could potentially mess with OP's child support revenue. If he's not providing for his kid, that's a different issue altogether. Bouncy Books commented. And calling in fake child abuse claims. This guy is a boss. You don't love a child by destroying the mother life with false accusations. Grand Try 3772 commented. What they said. Document everything and video call. Trust your gut, do not let him alone with her. Women's shelter if need be. USAF_retired 2017 commented. This is only true if it violates good order and discipline. These types of situations are extremely hard to prosecute. And likely nothing would happen short of a verbal counseling or nothing at all. Source. Retired military with a serial cheating Army ex-husband whose sergeant major was also a serial philanderer. JM Legend 22 commented. Mention all the stuff you just said if he petitions or complaints about kid context. That will help you in court. How you offered to help finance a trip for her first Christmas, but he went to Florida for 2 weeks with friends and family. Mention all the times he left while on paternity leave when he wasn't helping you. These are things that prove he is an unfit father. Including the false accusations towards you. Rare Explanation 7938 commented. Inform him that all requests and concerns must be sent to your lawyer. Do not talk to him on the phone. Everything should be by text or lawyers. Block his friends and family. He can give them your lawyer's information. You have to stop being used as an emotional, mental and verbal punching bag. This is abuse, and you need to write and log everything that happened and happens, dates and times. This will help in the future and can help with his CO. It is not your job to facilitate meetings with your daughter. That is up to him. Your lawyer should be able to help you find someone who will be there when he visits her, so you don't have contact with him. Try this to help you. You deserve peace of mind and respect and rest from this bad guy. Good luck, honey. Shiv1313 commented. First. In healthy relationships, no one cares if the other looks at their phone or email or whatever because there's nothing to hide. Second. This guy can F all the way off. He seems very immature and not near ready to be a family man. I would have been stabbing my eyes out if I was across the country from my pregnant wife. That's torture. Third. I am so sorry that you have had to go through this. We aren't all like this. I hope you find one that makes you happy. Please support our channel by subscribing now. I will give you a special shout out in the next video. Now, for more Reddit cheating stories, check out one of these videos.
Get paid to do simple jobs on social media. Click the link in the description now.